Alright, so I'm going to get into the look with this not Makeup Monsters, that's an old company. This is from Menagerie Cosmetics, the Feral palette. And this is the color story. And I'm going to show you how to do this eye look that I have on. So yeah, let's just get started. I've already primed this eye, carved out the eyebrow and everything. So the first color that I'm going to go into is allium. I'm not sure. It's this purple color right here. I'm going to use that to start carving out the crease. And to do the crease work, I'm going to use this Morphe 506 brush like I usually use. So let me just kind of zoom you in so you can actually see what's going on. Alright, like I said, I'm going to go into this purple color, I think the name is allium, and start carving out my crease. And I'm going to go into this shadow very gently because there's a fair amount of kickback, like it's a pretty softly pressed shadow and I don't want to create a mess. My base is the NYX Jumbo Stick Liner in Milk. So what I'm going to do is start pressing this in where I think I'm going to cut the crease. And if you saw my dress before I zoomed you in, I kind of wanted my birthday eyeshadow look to match the dress that I'm wearing for my birthday. I am turning 35. Well, I am 35 as of today. So yeah, I wanted something bright, colorful. I wanted to film YouTube videos all day today, but ironically, I ended up watching YouTube videos. Now that I have that color established, I'm going to go into Harmonia, that blue shade, which matches my dress. Yeah, I'm really excited about this color. When I was trying to pick I'm sorry for the noise, the window is open, so any cars that are driving by on my block, you can hear it. But anyway, I am going into that blue color, Harmonia, and I'm gonna start laying that down on the border of allium. Now I'm going to go back into the purple. Now I'm going to work on the blend for these two. Okay, I think I'm happy with how that is blended out. So what I'm gonna do is cut the crease off camera. I've done it on camera a bunch of times. I don't know how much you will get out of seeing me do it again. So after I cut the crease, I'll be right back. Alright, now that that unpleasantness of cutting my crease is over with, what I'm going to do is take this brush from a set that I got on Amazon for I think like $10. They call it a classic shader. And I am going to go into this shade. Sorry, another color. I'm gonna go into this shade Wolfling. It's like a duochrome color. I have it on the back of my hand and it's almost indistinguishable from the Pink Shimmer Pack Leader. they kind of both look the same. So that's, I guess, one criticism I have of the palette. Anyway, I'm gonna start by putting this on the inner corner of my eye. Alright, so the second shade I'm gonna go into is Pack Leader, using the same brush. And the textures of these shimmers, I really like them. They pick up pretty well on a brush, and not all shimmers or foiled or metallic shades do well on a brush. Alright, last shade I'm going into is this green shade, Huchera. I think I'm pronouncing that right. And that's going to go on the tail end of the crease. Okay, so I'm going to go off camera to do the rest of my makeup, liner, yada yada yada, foundation, and come back to share my first impression. So I'll be back. Okay, I know this look is kind of extreme. Bear with me. This is what I do. Of course, I like to look like a drag queen. I just dig the look, and I know this is extreme and it's too much for some people, but if you just like to play makeup like I do, there's always something going on outside. Anyway, I had the idea to do, it's either gonna be Night Eyes, this matte yellow, going into Harmonia, or Night Eyes going into this matte pink Wisteria. I really like the look of this pink, so I might do that. But first, I want to see how this yellow shade, Night Eyes, goes down. I use the NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil in the shade Milk as per usual under the eye to give it a base to adhere to, and just to make the color more vibrant, because I want this yellow to really pop. And I'm just using this pencil, like it's like a pencil brush, to just pat it on top of that base. Okay, not what I was looking for, but we're working with it, whatever. Okay, I'm sorry if I screw this up, but I think I'm gonna go into Harmonia, just because it's going to make my lower lash line pop even more. And that's kind of what I'm, like, the look I'm going for, is something just outrageous and out there and colorful. So I'm going to go with the same brush and kind of just pat it on. All right. Okay, we might have went too far. Never mind the fact that I'm supposed to be going out to dinner after this. Where am I going? My poor husband is gonna have to go out with me looking like this. Oh my God. What have I done? To try to save this, I'm gonna use this like pencil brush, the rounded tip, to try to like soften that edge, because this is kind of intense and not at all what I was intending. Oh man. Alright guys, I think this is about as good as it gets. So let me fix my hair and I'll give you my final impressions on this palette. Okay? Alright guys, so this is what the look ended up looking like. And I'm supposed to go out with this. I'm going to dinner with my husband and my daughter. So here's my first impression on this palette. It's a really pretty palette with bright pops of colors. Like, I really love this color Harmonia. Better on a white base because I noticed that when blending, I noticed that when it was blending with the purple color, it was kind of getting muddy, but that might be because on this eye, I maybe over blended. Otherwise, you can see under my eye, like, it's a really vibrant color, and I'm really happy with the pigmentation of all the colors in this palette. Same as the Dragon Child palette. The shimmers, I like them, but if you get a little too aggressive with the shimmers, they kind of bunch up. Like, they're a pretty soft formula, they kind of move around, but it's like easy to press it back down and get it to behave. But my only criticism is that these two colors are so much alike. Like, when you swatch them, they're pretty, well, I guess not. You can kind of see the difference in the colors. Maybe not because this light is too bright. Okay, there you go. So you can see the difference in them, but it's a more nuanced difference. So anyway, so far I like the palette. I'd like to get into some of the colors I didn't use, like this pink wisteria. I didn't touch these two matte greens, this brown and kind of gray. Who knows when I'll have a chance to dip into that one. But anyway, I'll leave the details for everything that I use on my face. My husband's outside the door and I think he's ready to go to dinner. So I will see you guys later. Bye. Okay, so there is something more that I wanted to share with you guys. Since this is more tutorial than what it is review, I wanted people to be able to follow tutorials if they were so inclined without necessarily having to have the palette that I have. Sometimes it's not really apparent. So what I was thinking, I was looking at my collection and contemplating some of the redundancy of said collection, and I was like, oh well, I think I could do a lot of these shades. So I'm going to do dupes for some of the shades I found in the palette. I'm not going to go into these neutrals. I think that will be easy enough to find dupes for them, as well as this color. That's a really common one, so I'm going to kind of dupe the less common shades, like here, I think these duochromes, that green. I have the, let me find it. Ironically, once I started looking at the colors that really made this palette dynamic, I realized that I had most of these colors in this palette. Let me show you. Night Eyes, I'll swatch that one. And then this yellow from the Zulu palette, doesn't swatch as well. But when it goes on, it looks almost exactly the same. And so when it applies to your eye, it looks a lot like the same shade. And the same for these purples, like allium. It's a really heavily pigmented color. It's a little bit more neon. And then I was thinking about another palette that I have, which is the Pinkie Rose Bright Lights palette. So this purple, if you wanted to make a similar look, You could probably use Pop Rocks out of this palette, and they're pretty freaking close. And the same for this blue Harmonia. Which is pretty vibrant. There's a teal shade in the Zulu palette that's kind of similar. It's not a perfect dupe. It's a little bit too green to perfectly dupe that shade, but the blue in here, the shade Pinkie, is similar. This duochrome Wolfling, I'm gonna swatch it on this wrist, and then the pink Pack Leader, that's what they look like swatched. So I'm gonna swatch this like rose gold type shade out of the Juvia's Place palette, and that is very similar to this one, okay? And see, we also have this green shimmer Puchera, which is like one of the colors that caught my eye. It's like a lime green, okay? Very, very similar to the lime green in the Zulu palette. The difference is almost indistinguishable when they're swatched. And the green in the Feral palette is a little bit darker, but they're both kind of like lime green shades. And then, I mean, I'm sure this brown is pretty close to the brown in that palette. And I believe this pink might be a little bit too dark to dupe the pink in this palette, but let's see. Yeah, it's a slightly lighter pink. But let's see what the Pinkie Rose palette has to offer us. The shade Tiki in the Pinkie Rose palette is actually almost dead on a dupe for the shade Wisteria. And what else are the other unique shades? Mariposa, which is that like orangey, it's more like a coral orangey shade. That's what it looks like when it's swatched. And I think there is a dupe. I think Dreamsicle in this palette would probably be pretty close. No, it's a little bit too neon orange. So, okay, Dreamsicle doesn't have a perfect dupe in this palette, or I believe this palette. Because this orange is a little bit more, yeah, it's a different shade of orange. But I would say the Pinkie Rose shade is close-ish. You could probably mix it with the other shade Tiki and get like a perfect dupe for that shade. And yeah, like basically I just duped most of this palette within my own collection in these two palettes. So if you wanted to follow this look, I think you should be able to dupe most of them if you own these two palettes. And so I'll start doing that and going forward in my makeup tutorials and just trying to find dupes for you guys so that you don't feel compelled to just kind of mindlessly consume and buy stuff like I do. But I'll talk about that in another video. Hopefully by the time you see this, that video will already be up. Anyway, I will see you guys soon. Thanks for watching and I'll see you later. Bye.